Hey everybody, what's going on? This is TwoHeadedFlounder. We're back finally playing some TCGO. It's been a while. I'm a little awkward. Forgive me, please. It's been quite a while since I made a video on TCGO. So, we're getting into this. I'm very excited for this because this is a deck I've been sitting on for a while, my own original idea, and I really want to make a video about this. So, we're going to be focusing on today Larvitar. So, this is a cool little tech card people are putting into decks, because as long as there was some damage, you might be able to hit something like a Zoroark for a one-hit knockout, for a double colorless energy, which of course means this can be put in an empty deck because it's double colorless. So really cool concept idea behind it, but we're going all in on this. So ideally, if they have 3 or more damage counters, we're going to be hitting for 80. Of course, the go-to Pokemon for spreading damage counters is well, Tapu Koko. So, of course, we're going to be playing as many copies of this that we can probably do. 4 is a little too much, but running 3 is fine. Spreading 20 damage everywhere is the idea. And whatever we can't seem to manage to get that extra little bit of damage on, we're going to be relying on Giratina. Ideally, what we want to do is lead off with Koko, flying flip 2 times without getting knocked out, and then we should be fine. But that's the dream and the ideal situation to be in. So, of course, we're going to be playing Giratina because Giratina will definitely help out quite a bit. And, as long as it's in the discard pile, we get to put it onto our bench, and we get to put 1 damage counter on 2 Pokemon, which effectively we can then target down, which is what we want to be hitting for the extra damage with Larvitar. Another fantastic way for putting damage down on the board, of course, is Shrine of Punishment. Yes, this is a Shrine of Punishment deck. We're running very minimal EX and GX Pokemon in the deck, of course, only playing 1 Lele. So, yeah, this is another great way to help us get that damage on board. So, of course, instead of having to target down a GX Pokemon with Giratina, this will effectively do that for us. So, the concept there is to get damage on the board, do what we can, and try and get knockouts. But we actually have a few other tech cards in the deck. This is the new Shedinja from Lost Thunder. Vessel of Life. Once during your turn, you may discard all cards attached to this Pokemon attached to one of your Pokemon as a tool card. When this Pokemon this is attached to is knocked out, your opponent takes 1 fewer prizes. Well, we're playing a deck that is really relying on 1 prize attackers. So the ideal situation is, well, okay, we go first, we pass, we have Ninkata on the bench. Our next turn comes around, Tapu Koko is still in the active. We then evolve into Shedinja, attach it to Koko, flying flip. If they decide to knock us out at that point, well, they're not taking a prize card. They still have to take 6 more. So the ideal situation here is we're going to hopefully get 3 to 4 Shedinja in play per game, trying to slow our opponent's prize game down. Now, this is also going to be interfering with playing Choice Band. However, all we ever want to do is play Choice Band on Larvitar or potentially on Giratina if possible, if we can maybe get some plays going with Counter Energy. But other than that, we really want to solely rely on playing these on Larvitar, so that way we can do 110 damage. But of course, we're not always going to be in that ideal situation for doing 110 damage, so that's where Shedinja really comes into play. And of course, we're going to be playing a copy of Zebstrika. Not only is it some sort of additional backup attacker if need be, it's a great way for us to discard cards and draw a new hand. We're not really relying on things like Oranguru or Zoroark. So Zebstrika seems pretty good, especially when we have something like Giratina that we really want to put into the discard pile. And what is great about this deck on top of it is, because we're going to be discarding Shedinja, we're going to be opening up bench space, which is always just a great thing. And this was ideally going to be a budget deck, but since then, the cards have actually gone up in price, so just ignore the name. It's not really too budget-friendly anymore. It still might be cheaper than playing something like Rayquaza, GX, or Bucephalon, but yeah, this is more just of a rogue deck now. Giratina has gone up in price since I've made it. I wouldn't necessarily count Lele as a very strong, powerful, highly priced card anymore. You can have it for about $20 because of the promo that came out. So that is definitely drastically fallen in price. And I would ignore things like Cynthia and Guzma because those cards were made so long ago that unfortunately they're just expensive because they're from older sets. And ideally, the only really high-priced cards here are Giratina, Shrine, and Lele. But again, and Ditto. But Ditto is really just here for us to help us evolve into one of these guys more effectively. So looking at the rest of the cards, we have a copy of Field Blower, just in case there is anything out there that's super annoying that we don't want to deal with. Playing 4 copies of Nest Ball because a lot of the Pokemon in here are actually basic, and just getting the basic into play as soon as possible is probably better than discarding cards and trying to do so. Like getting Ditto onto the bench, Larvitar, Nakata, Blitzel, or Coco. Of course, we don't want to be putting this or Lele down. We have a copy of Pal Pad just so we can get some of those powerful supporters, again, that we can use. So maybe something like Kukui, that we can additionally do an extra 20 damage with Larvitar. We can get that back. We're playing 2 copies of Rescue Stretcher because, of course, we're going to want to get Larvitar back. They're going to die a lot. And, of course, we're going to want to get back Shedinja because we're going to knock them out. So, yeah. 3 copies of Ultra Ball because, of course, we still want to grab Giratina and Coco and Lele from the deck, and maybe Blitzel, the Substrika. It's also a great way to discard Giratina. 4 copies of Cynthia Guzma. We want to max out consistency. We don't have too much to just go in our deck and find them. 3 copies of Lily, just because if we can turn 1 Lily, it's still good, and also it's just a okay card to have later on in the game. Playing 2 copies of Professor Elm's Lecture because we want to get a lot of these basics in play, and if we can turn 1, it would definitely help our odds. Playing 2 copies of Kukui because doing 20 extra damage while drawing 2 extra cards is just fantastic, especially when we're going to want to be hitting for as much as possible. So with that in Choice Band, Kukui will allow us to do 130, and then, of course, with all that extra damage that we've already played down and Shrine of Punishment, maybe ideally we can actually hit for a 1-hit knockout on something like a Lele or Bucephalon. Playing 3 copies of Sightseer because getting certain cards in the discard pile while also allowing us to draw certain cards is pretty ideal. Say we have something in our deck that we don't really need anymore, like Professor Elm, and we can get rid of it while also drawing cards. 4 copies of Choice Band. Ideally, we're going to be going up against GX decks, and if not, then it's just going to allow us, we should be fine with the damage output from these guys at the very least. But it can definitely get clunked up because of these if we go against a non-GX deck. 2 copies of Counter Energy because if we fall down in prizes, which is very likely because our Pokemon have such minuscule amounts of HP, then this will actually allow us to have effectively more double colorless. And of course 4 double colors because it's very, very vital for the deck. And with all of that being said, let's finally jump into a game. I know it's kind of a lengthy explanation of the deck, the idea behind it, but that's how the deck is ideally going to function. We're going to hit for a lot of damage, deny our opponent's prize cards when need be, and just hit for a lot of damage for 1 energy attachment. And we're just hoping that the idea is going to work. So let's go with heads, because I always pick heads with Totodile, and it always is tails. Why? Why is that, Pokemon? Why do you hate my beautiful Totodile? So let's see what we got. Ideal opening hand, actually. We have the energy, we have the Coco lead, and we have the Elm in our hand, and that's really, really good. And if they lead off with GX Pokemon, then Shrine of Punishment gets some extra damage for us, but they're not. This is going to be some sort of Malamar variant, and with the fighting, I'm thinking either there's a Marshadow or maybe he's trying out Toxicroak. The Toxicroak, that is the fighting one. I believe if your Psychic Pokemon were knocked out, it will do an additional amount, which is cool. So they actually got 3 Inkay in play turn 1, so that's kind of a bummer, but that's great for them. So it is a Marshadow variant. Going to see what they're going to be doing. Actually, them playing Marshadow is fantastic for us because it's a lot easier to hit Marshadow than some other things out there for a 1-hit knockout. So that's really, really fantastic for us. So we actually have the means of getting a Larvitar. So why don't we go ahead and grab Ditto and another Nincada? We have all of the Shedinja line in the deck, and this is really just going to help guarantee that, which is really nice. Also, we're going to be able to spread 20 to all of these right now, which is also just very good. And just getting all this into play. This was a fantastic turn 1. I cannot stress that enough. This was super good. We'll get rid of Kukui and Giratina, and we'll just go ahead and grab that Larvitar. So, excellent first turn. We have a supporter for the next turn, and we have the stadium that we want. Yeah, this is pretty great. So let's go ahead and flying flip, and on the next turn, if we want to get Giratina into play, we can put the extra damage down for Larvitar. I'm thinking we're probably going to be able to keep Coco up here for at least another turn, ideally. If not a big deal, but he still has to get a basic into the discard for him to even copy an attack with Marshadow. And if he can't, then that's fantastic for us. It's more spread damage, and it's just going to open up the board even more. So I'm not going to complain. Hopefully he'll miss something, just because the ideal situation would be so good. But it looks like he has that Psychic in his hand, or maybe the Ultra Ball or Mysterious Treasure to discard something. So maybe, yeah, okay, there we go. He also needs to get the 3 energy into play. He will be able, most likely, to do that. Unfortunately, for him, it might not work out too appropriately. No, it will. Okay, so we're going to go down here. Not the biggest of deals. We'll definitely still be able to make some plays and do some stuff. So, not the end of the world. He definitely understood what to do. I really wanted to put down the Shrine of Punishment earlier, but I was a little too nervous about doing so, so I opted not to. I'm thinking now I probably should have, but it's fine. So let's go ahead and throw this down. We'll definitely Cynthia at this point because, of course, we want to do some stuff. I'm thinking that maybe we honestly at this point want to Giratina just because we want the damage down. But I don't know if we want to attack with Larvitar. We can definitely pal pad some cards back into the deck, which probably isn't the worst idea, because drawing into a Cynthia or Kukui could prove to be beneficial. But I am thinking that we are probably going to have to attack with Larvitar, unfortunately. So let's go ahead and grab the Giratina. We're going to put the damage. I think we were going to want to put one on Lele, but we'll definitely do it to the one with the escape board, just because, you know, if we can remove an escape board from play, that's probably better than one of them that doesn't have the escape board. And it's unfortunate, but we will just be doing 10 damage here. So hopefully with Shrine in between turns, we'll get up to that point, and hopefully that, you know, the further we go into the deck, we'll find things like our tech cards for dealing with things and just be able to deal with it from there. The deck can definitely clunk up like this. This is not the ideal situation to be in hand-wise. Him actually going ahead and play Marshadow if he wants to. I mean, I'm perfectly okay with that. If you want to give me a new hand right now, this isn't the best. I mean, I know what I would do next turn. I would definitely grab Larvitar and put him back onto the bench, and then Lily from there. But it looks like he is going to Marshadow. He wants to get a new hand. I don't blame him. His hand didn't seem too good. Our hand is actually not very good for Sightseer. So this is kind of a bummer. We have the energy to do stuff, but we don't really have the means of doing too much. So if we can't top deck a Cynthia, this might be pretty bad. So, yeah. Also, just an Ultra Ball, anything, maybe a Zebstrika. I mean, I don't really want to get rid of my energy because we're not going to be able to get him back, but still something would be better than nothing. Alright, well, I think, honestly, what we're going to have to do is Sightseer and just get rid of Guzma because I should have played an energy first. That was stupid on my part. But yeah, that was not super great. We have Lele for next turn. This isn't going too well though. We're gonna attach this to Giratina because that will allow us to get a one-hit knockout next turn, and we're actually not weak to him, but he's pretty weak to us. So that's nice, I suppose. But yeah, we're gonna have to pass here. Thankfully enough, we have the energy for next turn, and we have a way to get Cynthia at the very least. But yeah, not super hot. So he is going to retreat back into Marshadow and copy Dark Flash here probably. So you know, kind of a bummer, but we will be able to survive that very nicely because one of resistance, but two because it doesn't do too much damage. Go ahead and drop the Larvitar. We're going to attach the energy because we got to get back into this game one way or another here. I think I want to grab the Larvitar, but I think we'll hold off for now. We're actually going to go Lele, grab Cynthia, I would have to assume at this point. Lily might not be the worst, especially if we shuffle in the Pokemon, but we're just going to grab Cynthia and hope that we can grab something at least halfway decent here. If we can thankfully get that Shedinja, that'll be nice. That will be nice. We will, So I really want to attach it to Giratina, but the thing is, if we do that, we won't be able to use a counter energy if we manage to draw into it. So I think I'm actually going to not do that, and I am actually going to go ahead and use this on Larvitar. And the great thing about Giratina being knocked out is we'll be able to reuse its ability, which is really, really nice. And let's go ahead and Shadow Impact here. So I think we'll put it on Larvitar, honestly, because if it gets knocked out regardless, it's going to be okay. We don't lose a prize. We are going to take two prizes, though, so we're going to be matched up evenly for the prize exchange. Ultra Ball is a fantastic card to have right here, right now, basically due to the fact that we're going to be able to get rid of some useless cards in our hand, like Shrine of Punishment. So we're going to see Skateboard come down. Lele's got free retreat, so that's kind of nice for them. They don't have to rely on Malamar having all that. We're going to see some energy go down to Marshadow. And I guess they're going to go for a Shadow Punch for 30, which I'm not going to complain. That's hopefully going to allow us to get the ball rolling here. So let's look at the rest of the stuff we got going on. Lele's definitely going to be in the one-hit KO territory with some effort. Probably going to want to put the extra damage on these guys, though. And we will go ahead and do so. Just because, of course, we want to. There will be one shot now. We will Ultra Ball. We're going to get rid of Shrine and Coco. Coco could be an interesting play, but we should have a Coco left. And if not, we can just grab it back immediately. So that's not any concern for us. We're going to grab the Shedinja. We're going to grab the Shedinja so we can evolve into it and then really just attach it immediately here. and maybe attach it to Lele. But I'm thinking maybe we want to attach it to Zoroark. The Ditto. Because it is very easily knocked out by just about anything in this deck. But I am going to go ahead and opt to do it to Lele. Just because if anything happens next turn, they want to play Marshadow, target down Lele, they're going to take one prize. Next, let's go ahead and grab one of the Kocos back, because we did find out that we're going to need it. Throw that down. And we are going to Lily, and hopefully we can grab something here. We whiff the energy, but we have the Shedinja down, so even if we get knocked out, that's okay. I see a better next turn at the very least. But unfortunately, we're going to have to pass. We whiffed anything that might be too potentially useful. So as you can see, it's not too difficult to get the 30 damage on the board in general, but I had to imagine them grabbing a Marshadow this turn and getting energy attached to it, and also, you know, probably Guzmaing up. They're actually going to make a nice play and keep it in their hand. So we'll throw up Koko. And Koko could definitely be a solid play here. Okay, so this is what I'm honestly thinking. We're going to go ahead, go into the discard pile, put one into our hand, because we're going to grab Shedinja. We're going to evolve Ditto into Shedinja. We're going to attach the Shedinja to Koko, so that way if he does decide that he wants to knock out Koko, he's not going to take a prize. He's not going to be able to one-shot Giratina. If he does knock out Lele, he's only taking one prize. We're going to try and play down our hand as much as possible here, and we're going to literally discard this entire hand. I love the idea of Kukuiing there and getting the energy and getting the knockout. We still whiffed regardless. So that's very unfortunate. That is super unfortunate. We're going to go ahead and grab Blitzel, put it onto the bench, because we are dead-handing like there is no tomorrow. I know we only have 2 energy left in the deck, but still we are just whiffing, and that is so bad. I'm thinking maybe that removing Shrine of Punishments might be ideal, but I'm thinking, why don't we get rid of their free retreat options or reduced retreat options? And why don't we... No, we'll leave that. We'll decide what to do with that next turn. I have to assume that they have Acerola in the deck, and eventually Lele's going to come up. But there is a possibility in 7 turns from now Lele is knocked out. So there is always that. So he has a couple of options here. You can attack the Giratina, not knock me out. You can knock out the Blitzel or the Larvitar, take a prize. You can knock out the Lele, take a prize. Or if he knocks out Koko, he's not taking anything. Koko, it was the ideal play for me, just to start doing some more damage, especially if we could have managed to actually grab the counter energy, but unfortunately we didn't. So it looks like he's actually just going to go for the Koko knockout, which I don't necessarily disagree with. I think it's definitely like kind of scary to leave these guys down there. So I probably would have gone ahead and gotten rid of Koko, but you know, what can you do? Alright, so we got some guys taking some more damage. Unfortunately, I really cannot do anything, and just getting a Zebstrika there would have been fantastic. And he's playing around my cards very well with the Marshadow. I will say that at the very least. But this has been so bad. I'm gonna put that down. just because I don't want to draw into it again. I want to draw into some sort of energy here. Alright, well, we're going to go ahead and get rid of these because we don't want them, obviously. And we're going to grab the Zipstrika. I don't really see us winning this game at this point. This is actually pretty bad for us. I can't even necessarily feel good about using Zipstrika here. But it honestly has to be done. We have to draw into something at the very least here. And we just continue to whiff. So it's on our opponent to figure out what they want to do at this point. The least I can say is after this turn, there will be 30 damage on this active Mars Shadow. And if maybe they, I don't know. Maybe with some luck, we can do some stuff here. So we got the counter energy, but we're gonna need a little bit more. If I Sightseer, just the Giratina will draw 3. So we're going to do so because I want more cards left in my deck as possible. And we're just getting rid of Giratina. So that way we can use the ability at the very least. And with that, we will grow ever closer to getting that knockout on Lele, which could prove to be what we really need. But I have to imagine they still have Acerola in there somewhere. But I don't really think that we can decide not to here. So we are going to ping these two down because they're the most offensive threats to us. And we're going... I whiffed... Oh no, I whiffed the choice band, which is what we needed. I completely forgot that we also needed the choice band. I know attaching this here kind of sucked earlier, but also that made it more likely for us to draw into the energy, but I had to make that decision, and even if I decide to sprint at this point, I'll deck out. So that's pretty much game. I can't honestly do anything else. All my guys are discarded. Maybe we can play the stall game. That's what I have to imagine. Maybe we can play the stall game here. Maybe it's doable. So we're going to see Ultra Ball. Not sure necessarily what they're going to be grabbing with it that's going to be any bit useful. But they look to be powering up a Melamar to maybe attempt to get a knockout onto Lele. I think maybe having a third counter energy could be useful here, and it could be something to possibly do, but yeah, that hurt. That hurt pretty bad. So we're in a terrible situation. They have only played one Guzma. So that's not too good. We have no way of shuffling their hand to their deck and just reducing the amount of cards there. We have to decide what really to do here. There's the choice band. Nice. Oh boy. Yeah, this was pretty bad. We could deck out. That's a possibility. Oh boy. Do I want to go out swinging or do I just want to pass? Oof, the options, the options. We can go out swinging, I guess. Why not? Why not? We were... Well, wait, we could actually still win this. In between turns, we could actually still win this. Oh. I think we just won the game. I think we actually Shrine of Punishment killed a Lele. It's a death for full. Okay. So we had a lot of good and a lot of bad in that game, and I think that we've definitely discovered some sort of cool plays we can do. I think we're gonna call it there because I feel like this has been a very lengthy episode, and I think it can only go downhill from here. So this is my return to the YouTube. Larvitar budget, everybody. Best deck in the format. Go build it right now. Here's the list once more. You can put it in slow mo. Look at it. Yeah, no. I'm just excited that we won that. I completely forgot about Shrine of Punishment, and I honestly thought Lele had 150 on it, so I thought we were just done at that point. And I was just like, we'll leave something. We lost, but thankfully I did pay a little bit more attention at the end because we managed to barely squeak out of that with a win. So, ideas for this. Ideas that maybe we could do to improve on it. Let's just go back into the deck really quick, see what we have. I think maybe we could drop a shrine. My ideal situation of thinking was people might be playing counter stadiums, so like that could be an issue, and I would want to have them out there as I can as possible. But maybe dropping that down, adding another counter energy. Honestly, maybe even adding like a count or two of psychic energy, just because there's the potential of using Giratina, and just counter psychic, and then you don't have to waste another counter or a double colorless there. But also maybe I'm trying to think what was not too super useful and what was really useful. I would maybe suggest cutting down on a Sightseer and a Lily, maybe, because I know it's definitely hard to play Lily mid-game with a lot of clunk in your deck. So I don't know, maybe drop a Lily for something else and maybe keep the third Sightseer. A third Giratina might not be the worst idea, maybe. But that just opens up leading off with it and things like that. Maybe a copy of Acerola for the Lele or the Giratina or something if it gets stranded. Maybe a copy of Taint and Liza. Maybe drop Lily and Sightseer for 2 copies of Taint and Liza, because at the very least, if you're stuck with Giratina in the active, there's an additional way other than Guzma. But I guess the idea is that you're going to have the damage on board, and you're going to be able to attack with either Coco or Larvitar. And I got to say, our opponent played very fantastically around the Larvitar Shrine thing I wanted to do there. But yeah, that's the deck. Thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate it. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like, comment, or subscribe so you can stay up to date with my channel and my videos. And we're coming back full force. I got some decks lined up for the next couple videos. And with all that being said, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.